All hell is breaking loose as Donald Trump is being brutally outmaneuvered throughout the entire world. It's staring him in the face right now, what is happening in this disastrous war in Iran, but Donald Trump too weak to even comprehend what is happening. I mean, remember this headline from February 24th, 2026, when Reuters reported exclusive: Iran nears deal to buy supersonic anti-ship missiles from China. And it talked about how close Iran was to finalizing this deal for these supersonic ship cruise missiles with the range of about 290 kilometers. They fly low, they fly fast, they evade ship defenses. I don't know, Donald. Maybe you could have realized who was helping Iran and who is helping Iran. Maybe when there were joint operations that were being done right there, right off the coast of Iran by China, Russia, and Iran a few months back, you would have said, wow, maybe they're preparing for what is being executed right now. Or maybe if you just, I don't know, opened up your intelligence briefings, you would see every day this glaring big bold letters. I know, Donald, how the military prints it out for you because you don't like to read or you don't know how to, in the 40 size font where it'll say, Russia is currently providing Iran with intelligence, including satellite imagery and drone targeting tactics, exclamation point. But for Donald Trump, it's like, what? Oh, so you're saying that we should remove the sanctions from Russia? Because Putin says that would be very nice if I did that. No, Donald, read the 40 size font. It says Russia is providing Iran with the intelligence to kill American soldiers and to target American interests in the Middle East, you moron. But no, for Donald Trump, it is, okay, I'll remove the sanctions. That's what happened yesterday. Not only Russian sanctions removed from its ability to export oil to India, but now it's for all countries right now. Yep. The Trump administration handed Putin another major break, worth perhaps on the low end $11 billion, more than $150 million a day for Russia, a gift as the Russian economy was struggling. Care of Donald Trump, Russia in chief. Yep. The Treasury Department just issued a new license today, allowing countries to purchase Russian crude oil that was already loaded onto ships before March 12th. That's a lot of crude, by the way, effectively letting those sanctioned shipments move forward and be sold on the global market. Now, all of that crude was just sitting there for a long period of time. Now, this authorization runs through April 11th and allows the full sale, delivery, and offloading of Russian oil currently in transit. And they will offload that all by April 11th. Then I'm sure Donald Trump will just do it again. That's part of the plan. Why do you think Dmitriev and Yushakov were in Miami meeting with Witkoff and Kushner? This is what they were doing 2 days ago. They weren't talking about how to bring peace to Ukraine. They weren't talking about a ceasefire deal. No, they were talking about how to help Russia while Russia's killing Americans, while Russia is helping Iran target American interests, while Russia and China are helping Iran. That's what's going on. So this means Russian oil already at sea can now reach buyers without triggering sanctions and penalties. The administration claims the move is limited to oil that was already loaded onto ships, but the decision hands Putin a financial lifeline right now, a massive win for Putin. And you want to know what's going on in the Strait of Hormuz? You want to know? Iran is exporting more oil through the Strait of Hormuz now than before the war ever started. Iran's oil exports have risen by 100,000 barrels per day since the war began to 2.1 million barrels per day. China is also buying large amounts of Iranian oil. And Iran said, China, you may pass. Russia, although you don't need to be there, you may pass. Everybody else we're going to blow up. And Iran's made good on that promise, attacking all of the other ships in the Strait of Hormuz that doesn't get its permission. So the U.S. intelligence The Trump regime said, oh, they're never going to close the Strait of Hormuz. They're never going to close it because it would hurt Iran. No, Iran is able to evade anything that hurts it. I don't know how you didn't think of these most basic of things. Now, Kirill Dmitriev, Russia's top envoy, who was meeting in Miami 2 days ago, he is boasting and bragging that these sanctions have been lifted. This just in, he posts, spiking the football, mocking the United States. He's posting it on social media. We see him doing it right now. So you've got that going on. At the same time, here's what else is going on. Sources close to Gulf Arab government circles say the frustration with the Trump regime is running deep in the region. Many believe he dragged the Gulf into a war shaped heavily by Israel without sharing any plans, acting hastily, without weighing the political and economic ramifications for their allies. And now these Arab nations are absolutely screwed. And again, look at the Strait. 16 vessels have been attacked in and near the Strait since February 28th. The New York Times has reported. Now, what else is important that we note? How are these Arab nations responding? They are now trying to figure out how they can do security guarantees with Iran. And in exchange, Iran wants security guarantees from them. Iran wants to be entrenched now as a mini superpower in the region. Iran saying, you respect our power. We want firm security guarantees that you won't have America's back anymore. And we'll give you the guarantees that we won't strike you anymore. That's what's going on. And the Pakistani Prime Minister, Shehbaz Sharif, is kind of playing mediator here. Pakistan's Prime Minister, Shehbaz Sharif, is traveling to Saudi Arabia to meet with MBS today. This is after speaking with Iran's President Pezeshkian about how to deal with the deteriorating situation in the Middle East. We're being reported by Bloomberg. Sharif will discuss with the Crown Prince the ongoing tensions in the region, pave the way for dialogue and diplomacy. Foreign Ministry spokesperson Tahir Hussein Andrabi said in a weekly briefing in Islamabad. And again, Donald Trump was trying to suck up to Pakistan because they were saying, oh, we'll give you a Nobel Peace Prize because you stopped the war with India, which Trump didn't do. And India, Prime Minister Modi's like, no, you didn't stop the war. You don't deserve a Nobel Peace Prize. What are you talking about? So Trump sided with Pakistan afterwards. But by the way, now we have India's Prime Minister also talking to Iran's President Pezeshkian as well about trying to create kind of peace in the area and recognizing Iran's security guarantees. So this is totally blowing up in Trump's face. You now have a more powerful Iran with a more extreme Ayatollah in charge. That's what's going on right now. So you have Pakistan playing kind of middleman there. By the way, we talk about the Gulf states. They've already lost $15 billion in energy revenue since the start of the war. They've lost $15 billion. Russia stands to gain $12 billion or $11 billion from the removal of these sanctions. That's just a fact. And Zelenskyy is pissed, and rightfully so. He'll be meeting with Emmanuel Macron, France's president, today, and others. But here's what Zelensky's saying. He's saying, Europe, the United States, and the entire civilized world impose sanctions on Russia for its aggression. In my view, if these sanctions are lifted, it means we are recognizing the legitimacy of this aggression. That is, one or another state is forgiving Russia for this crime. Of course, as the president of the country that is the victim in this war, Russia's invasion of Ukraine, and as someone who fundamentally understands that aggression cannot go unpunished, I consider this absolutely unjust. Well, Zelenskyy, while you are right, Donald Trump doesn't care about what you think. Donald Trump is Putin's sycophant. Donald Trump wants to help Putin. He's been trying to do it his entire life, in my opinion. And it's one of the reasons why European Union's vice president and its foreign affairs chief, Kaja Kallas, is out there saying the following. EU must stick together against Trump. Trump is a hostile force. Trump and the United States are hostile actors. Just think about that. That's what the European Union is referring to America as, the United States of America. Europe saying they're a hostile nation. The top diplomat of the EU, Kaja Kallas, and she used to be the leader of Estonia. Now she is the vice president, essentially, of the EU and their foreign minister. She says that the Trump administration wants to divide Europe with its tactics, and it's using the tactics of Putin, the adversaries of the EU. Trump is an adversary. He's using the Putin tactics. She goes on to say, what I think is actually important for everybody to understand is that the U.S. has been very clear that they want to divide Europe. They don't like the European Union, she tells the Financial Times. This is a very complicated relationship that we're having. But if you read the national security strategy and national defense strategy by the U.S., I think there shouldn't be any illusions. I mean, that called for cultivating resistance to the European Union and a need to calibrate U.S. military support to the continent. In other words, destroy the European Union. Now, it should also be noted that this past week, Trump is officially launching trade investigations into Europe in order to attack them and tariff them even more. And we know Trump's doing everything he can to try to keep Viktor Orban in Hungary of power, although Orban is expected to lose. But Orban and Putin are rolling out all of their stunts in order to try to keep the Putin puppet Orban in power in Hungary. And given the instability in the globe right now, well, I think you'll see mass protests in Hungary leading to this election in a few weeks. I think that Putin will use the election in Hungary as an opportunity when Orban loses to try to seize further control right there. That seems to be what's actually going to happen, so pay attention there. A few other things I want to point out. In the Strait of Hormuz, you have Iran laying mines right now, meticulously laying mines, so it knows where it can go, where the Chinese ships can go, but otherwise it's laying mines right now. This according to a report by the New York Times. Also, according to a new report by the Financial Times and others, the U.S. has now burned through years' worth of munitions since the start of this war. Now, its ability to replenish stockpiles is becoming a grave concern within the military. The rapid depletion of weaponry includes advanced long-range Tomahawk missiles. The Pentagon now is requesting a $50 billion supplemental, which American taxpayers are going to, supplemental defense spending bill, that American taxpayers are going to have to pay instead of getting health care, instead of having affordable housing. This is where your money is going to be going, sending the United States further into debt. A bad, bad situation right now. So that gives you, I think, the update of what's going on throughout the country right now, or throughout the world right now. We'll keep you posted every step of the way here. But difficult times ahead, but we're going to stay in this together. Hit subscribe. Let's get to 7 million. And thanks so much for watching.
Want to stay plugged in? Become a subscriber to our Substack at MeidasPlus.com. You'll get daily recaps from Ron Filipkowski, ad-free episodes of our podcast, and more exclusive content only available at MeidasPlus.com.